The Galactic Council chamber was an architectural marvel, a vast dome suspended in the void of space, with stars glimmering through its transparent walls. Representatives from dozens of species, each unique in form and culture, sat in concentric tiers, their holographic displays flickering with translated dialogue. At the center stood Earth's ambassador, Ambassador Eleanor Voss. Eleanor, a middle-aged woman with graying hair and piercing blue eyes, adjusted her uniform, a simple yet imposing design bearing the emblem of the United Earth Coalition. She raised her hand, silencing the room. The murmurs and whispers among the delegates faded, replaced by an anticipatory stillness. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, Eleanor began, her voice amplified and calm, yet charged with an undercurrent of emotion. For decades, humanity has embraced your vision of unity and peace. We have built bridges where none existed, shared our knowledge, and sacrificed much to preserve harmony among our worlds. A towering Zithran, its iridescent carapace reflecting the chamber's light, interrupted. And yet, Ambassador Voss, you request this floor today with a declaration that shatters that very harmony. Explain yourself. Eleanor met the Zithran's multifaceted gaze. Because peace without justice is no peace at all, she said, her voice unwavering. The Threxian hegemony has systematically attacked colony worlds along the Outer Rim, enslaving entire populations. They have disregarded every treaty, every plea for reason, and still, this council debates sanctions and negotiations while entire civilizations burn. Gasps rippled through the assembly. The Threxian delegate, a serpentine figure with scales that shimmered like molten gold, hissed in anger. You exaggerate, human. These colonies are unlawful encroachments on hegemony territory. Unlawful? Eleanor snapped, her tone sharper now. Tell that to the billions displaced, to the children who will never see their homes again. Humanity is not alone in the suffering. The Jorathans, the Vericans, even the independent traders, your predations are universal. The chamber erupted into heated debate, but Eleanor's voice cut through the clamor like a blade. Enough, she commanded. The council fell silent once more. The time for words has passed. I stand here not to plead but to warn. Humanity will not stand by as the Threxian hegemony continues its campaign of terror. She paused, letting her words sink in. Effective immediately, the United Earth Coalition declares the Threxian hegemony an enemy of humanity. We will no longer abide by council inaction. We will act. A chorus of disbelief and outrage filled the room. A Gelveran diplomat, their translucent form glowing with bioluminescent patterns of distress, protested. Ambassador Voss, this defiance could lead to open conflict. Eleanor nodded grimly. It already has, but humanity does not fight alone. We have allies, species who share our resolve to protect the innocent and confront tyranny. This is not a war we sought, but it is a war we will fight, and we will win. She stepped back, her gaze sweeping the stunned assembly. The choice is yours, esteemed council. Will you join us in defending justice, or will you stand by and watch the galaxy burn? The time for war is now. The chamber descended into chaos, delegates shouting over one another, their displays erupting with urgent communiques. Eleanor turned on her heel and walked out, her heart heavy but resolute. Humanity had taken its stand, and there was no turning back. Outside the chamber, the atmosphere was no less tense. Ambassador Eleanor Voss strode down the crystalline hallway, her boots echoing against the polished floor. Waiting for her was Commander Alec Ward, the head of Earth's Diplomatic Security Corps, a broad-shouldered man with sharp features and a perpetual air of vigilance. Well, Alec said, falling into step beside her, you certainly know how to make an exit. Eleanor allowed herself a faint smirk. I didn't come here to win a popularity contest. I came to make them listen. Alec handed her a small hollow pad, its surface lighting up with reports. Intel just came in. The Threxians are already mobilizing a fleet near the Sarnath expanse. They're either preparing to defend their holdings or launch a counteroffensive. Likely both, Eleanor said grimly. She stopped walking, turning to face Alec. How are the alliances holding up? Stronger than expected, Alec replied. The Jorathans and Vericans have pledged their fleets. The Zendari mercenaries are on board, too, though they're asking a steep price. Even the independent Rimworld clans are rallying. They've had enough of the Threxians' bullying. Eleanor nodded, a flicker of relief crossing her face. Good, we'll need every ship, every soldier. As they approached the docking bay, the grand expanse of Earth's flagship, Resolute Horizon, came into view. The ship's massive frame gleamed with cutting-edge technology, its sleek design a testament to humanity's ingenuity and determination. It was more than a warship, it was a symbol of Earth's refusal to bow. Inside, the command deck was abuzz with activity. Officers moved between holographic displays, coordinating the next steps of their campaign. The air was charged with a mix of anxiety and resolve. Eleanor addressed the room. Ladies and gentlemen, the Galactic Council may waver, but humanity does not. We have made our position clear. The Threxian hegemony must be stopped, and it falls to us to lead the charge. She gestured to a tactical map hovering in the air, displaying key Threxian territories and Earth's coalition forces. Our first objective is to secure the outer colonies and cut off Threxian supply lines. Commander Ward, coordinate with allied fleets to deploy strike teams along these points. Alex saluted. Consider it done. Eleanor continued, her gaze sweeping across the room. This is more than a military campaign. It's a fight for the future of the galaxy. A fight to prove that the strong cannot prey on the weak without consequence. We will not falter. We will not fail. The room erupted in a chorus of affirmation. As the preparations began in earnest, Eleanor stepped to the observation window. Looking out at the stars, she thought of the millions counting on them, the lives already lost, and the ones they still had a chance to save. A voice interrupted her thoughts. It was Alec, his tone softer now. You know, this isn't just about Earth anymore. What you said back there, it's lit a fire in people, across species, across worlds. You've given them hope. Eleanor's eyes remained on the stars. Hope is a fragile thing, Alec, but it's a start. Beyond the glass, the fleet began to assemble, ships from every corner of the galaxy joining Earth's forces. It was a sight to behold, a testament to unity forged not in peace, but in shared resolve. The war had begun, but so had something far greater, a movement, a fight for a galaxy worth saving. The Resolute Horizon exited hyperspace near the edge of the Sarnath expanse, its hull shimmering with residual energy as the rest of the fleet emerged in formation. Thousands of ships, human, Jorathan, Verican, and even the ragtag vessels of the Rimworld clans, spread out like an armada of light. Each represented a commitment to the cause, a refusal to bow to Threxian tyranny. On the bridge, Eleanor stood at the central console, the tactical display showing the fleet's positioning. Commander Ward was at her side, monitoring the incoming data feeds. Status report, Eleanor commanded. Lieutenant Kale, a young officer with a cybernetic implant glinting above his right eye, responded crisply. Fleet cohesion holding strong. Allied ships have taken up defensive positions as planned. Scans indicate a Threxian battlegroup stationed at the Vrenka system, a forward operating base for their incursions into the outer colonies. Eleanor's gaze fixed on the holographic projection of the Vrenka system. It was heavily fortified, Threxian cruisers patrolled in tight formations, orbital stations bristled with weaponry, and planet-side defense grids lit up like a hostile constellation. Typical Threxian strategy, Alex said. Overwhelm with force and dare anyone to challenge them. Challenge accepted, Eleanor replied. She turned to the communications officer. Patch me through to the fleet. The officer nodded, and moments later, her image was transmitted to every ship in the coalition. This is Ambassador Eleanor Voss, speaking to every soul in this fleet, she began, her voice steady but impassioned. Ahead of us lies the Vrenka system, the first step in dismantling the Threxian war machine. I won't lie to you, this will not be easy. The Threxians are formidable, and they will fight with everything they have, but so will we. She paused, letting her words sink in. We fight today not just for our own survival, but for the survival of countless others who cannot defend themselves. We fight for justice, for freedom, and for the belief that no species has the right to dominate another. Together, we are stronger than the Threxians could ever imagine. Across the fleet, officers and soldiers, pilots and engineers, listened in silence, their resolve hardening. Let this be the moment history remembers, Eleanor concluded, her voice rising. The moment when the galaxy's free people stood together and said, enough, the time for war is now, and together, we will prevail. As the transmission ended, a surge of determination swept through the fleet. On the bridge of the Resolute Horizon, Alec nodded approvingly. You've got away with words. Eleanor allowed herself a brief smile. Words are easy, now we see if we can back them up. The tactical display shifted as the fleet began its approach to the Vrenka system. Orders flew across channels, and ships adjusted their trajectories with military precision. The silence of space gave way to the hum of engines and the faint tremor of anticipation. The Threxian forces detected the fleet's arrival and responded swiftly. From the planet and stations, countless ships poured into the void, forming an ominous blockade. Enemy fleet is mobilizing, Kale reported. Estimated numbers, 3-1 against us. Odds could be worse, Alec quipped. Remember the siege of Harak Station? Eleanor shot him a glance. Let's try not to repeat that, shall we? The bridge braced as the Resolute Horizon led the charge, flanked by allied cruisers and destroyers. Fighters launched in swarms, streaking toward the enemy like shooting stars. The first salvos of energy beams and missile barrages lit up the battlefield, turning the darkness of space into a kaleidoscope of destruction. All units, execute the battle plan, Eleanor commanded. Keep the Threxians off balance. We focus on their command vessels first. The fleet moved with coordinated precision, each species bringing its unique strengths to bear. Human ships engaged in daring maneuvers. Jorathan vessels unleashed devastating plasma cannons. and the Verican frigates darted through enemy lines with surgical strikes. The battle was chaotic, brutal, and unrelenting. On the bridge, Eleanor issued orders with calm authority, her mind racing to anticipate the enemy's next move. She felt the weight of every life in the fleet, every decision she made. As the Threxian flagship came into view, Alec leaned in. "That's their nerve center, take it out, and their forces will crumble." Eleanor nodded. "Bring us within firing range. Let's end this." The Resolute Horizon surged forward, its main cannons charging. Around it, the Allied fleet pressed the advantage, breaking through the Threxian lines. The flagship loomed larger, its weapons lighting up the void. "Target locked," Cale reported. "Firing on your command." Eleanor's gaze hardened. "Fire." A blinding beam of energy erupted from the Resolute Horizon, striking the Threxian flagship dead center. The explosion rippled through the battlefield, a shockwave of light and debris that sent enemy vessels into disarray. Cheers erupted across the bridge as the Threxian forces began to retreat. The first victory was theirs, but Eleanor knew this was only the beginning. The war for the galaxy had just begun.